Hello, my name is Michelle, and my husband had an idea to interview me with some questions that he made up. I don't know what they are. And so he sat me down, and we're going to do this. I'm very curious.
All right, so where are you from?
I'm from Missouri, south of Kansas City.
Do you have a boyfriend?
I do. He's my husband.
What do you do for work?
I'm an esthetician. I do lash extensions and waxing, facials, massage, stuff like that.
So like at a spa?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, I'm going to be 34. Hopefully I will be done having kids. I would have a few kids and I'd be done having them. Maybe 3 kids, 3 or 4. I'd like to be working, hopefully in the like oceanography or marine biology field. I'm not sure what exactly I want to do with those, but if that means living on a coast for a little while, then it means living on a coast for a while. If not, then obviously there's jobs with freshwater, or there's jobs in the Midwest, of course. So hopefully I'll be doing that. I will be married. I will be living my best life with my 10-year-old son and my whatever age other kids, if we have other kids.
Wow, that's awesome. Have you lived outside of Missouri before?
Yes, I live in Kansas right now. Yes, I lived in Korea for a year, but that was just for school. And then we lived in Warrensburg.
So do you speak Korean?
A little bit.
Okay. So what are 2 things you liked or disliked about Korea?
Like 2 things I liked or disliked, or 2 things I liked and 2 things I disliked.
Up to you, baby girl.
Okay. So I'll just do 2 things I liked and 2 things I disliked, I guess. 2 things I liked was, number 1, I really liked how everybody was so kind to me. I only had a few bad experiences. I was living in like Seoul, which is the biggest city. It's way bigger than any city that I ever lived in or even been to. And everybody was really nice. I mean, I think as an American, I have a stereotype of like people who live in a big city are kind of rude. I get that from New York City or stereotypes of New York City. And I didn't really find that in Seoul. Of course, just like any city, like people are not really like trying to talk to you or anything, which is fine, but nobody was openly rude to me, except for maybe 1 or 2 times. And that was in a whole year. And then another thing that I liked was how easy it was to get around really the whole country. And not just because of how much English there is everywhere. There is English in most places, especially in Seoul. But it was easy to get around because of a really simple subway system and a really simple bus system. Taxis are abundant. And it was just really, and everything was, you know, I mean, it's a small country, so everything was pretty close together. 2 things I disliked, that's a little bit harder to think of, but I disliked that, I guess as an American, I'm used to eating food from like all over. I mean, I know it's all Americanized, but food from different countries, cuisines from different countries, I guess, and they don't have that so much in Korea. I mean, they do, but it's quite a bit more expensive than Korean food. I think that in America, there's like Americanized food from all different countries. It's kind of at the same base price, whereas in Korea, it's like Korean food is way cheaper than everything else. So it's kind of like going out of your way to get anything like Italian or Mexican is honestly really hard to find. So that was kind of hard because I grew up eating a lot of Mexican food. So as far as like comfort foods that I really grew up with, I mean, I ate a lot of Korean food, like, you know, in my teenage years, but comfort food that I grew up with, I couldn't find it easily, especially on my student budget. And so that was kind of sad, I guess. But I mean, Korean food is great, so it was fine anyway. But otherwise, what's something else that I didn't like? I don't know.
All ajaxis talking to you.
Yeah, well, something that was annoying is, people would walk up to me because they knew I or I guess they assumed I speak English. So they would walk up to me and try to talk to me either about Jesus or like English classes.
Or the Korean War.
Or the Korean War. Sometimes when guys would come up and talk about that, it was like, it was like inconvenient because I was always going somewhere, but it was not annoying. It was kind of nice to hear them talk about like, it was nice to hear about that time, I guess. But when other people approached me, it was usually older guys trying to speak English. It was very predatory. And that's nothing against Korean culture at all. I know that would happen in any culture. One nice thing, I guess, is that like in other big cities that I've been to, there were always people who were like begging, or like homeless people that would like ask you for stuff. That never ever happened to me. So I guess that's one upside.
What are your 3 favorite foods?
My 3 favorite foods are probably budae-jjigae, mac and cheese, and cheese raboki from kimbap jongko.
Wow, so Mexican food didn't even make the cut, huh?
Surprisingly, no. I don't have a favorite Mexican dish because when I was growing up, I would just like throw stuff together. So.
Okay. Do you play any games? If so, which ones?
Like any kind of game?
Yeah.
Regularly, no. I don't play any kind of games like Xbox or mobile or anything. I'll like get into a game for like maybe a week and then drop it. So no, I'm not really a board game person either.
Okay, cool. What are your 3 favorite songs right now?
There's a song by Janelle Monáe called "I Like It" or something like that. I like this something. I like that song. I like it. Cannot call it to my brain right now. I really like that song, and then this is hard. I'm not good at this like you. I've been listening to a lot of Disney music lately. I'm not sure why. It's just like I am kind of in a music rut right now, I think, and so when I want to listen to music, like when I'm getting ready or when I'm with the baby, I just put on Disney because it's like tried and true. But I don't have a lot of songs on there, but probably my favorite is, anything from Mulan or Little Mermaid. I really like Little Mermaid soundtrack.
Okay. So if you could live in a movie or a TV show, which one would it be and why?
Oh my god. I don't know. Maybe Harry Potter, because that would be like cool. That would be the coolest one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I think I probably would do Harry Potter. That's a very basic answer, but...
So would you be a wizard?
Yeah, a witch. I'd be a witch.
Okay.
Definitely.
And what's your favorite memory?
Like, ever?
Yeah, ever.
Jeez. A little specificity would probably help.
Okay, what's your favorite memory in the last 5 years?
Well, my 2 favorite memories in the last 5 years are finding out I was pregnant and having no. Sorry.
Wow. So I didn't make the cut this time. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Breathing underwater.
Why?
Because that would be so cool.
What would you do with it?
I would go as deep as I can. Coupled with that, I would have to be able to withstand an amazing amount of pressure because I like to go really deep. if I was not able to do that as well, I would just breathe underwater, because you can still go pretty low with the normal amount of pressure. You can go a few, whatever, 100 feet, yards. Honestly, I don't remember, but I would go and I would look at everything all over the world, everywhere, just all the fish and stuff.
Okay.
And save things that I see, and kill the lionfish.
Wow. If you had $1 million, what would you do with it?
If I had $1 million, I would. Oh, jeez.
Buy me a car.
Probably I would buy a summer house, or just a house that I wouldn't really live in all the time. That was in a cool place, a beautiful house in a cool place, probably in the middle of nowhere. Not a realistic house, but a house that I could go to whenever I wanted. Because if I were to buy a house, spend a bunch of money on a house, $1 million is not a lot of money. You said 1 million, right? That's not very much money.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I mean, okay, 1 million. Okay, if it was really, I was thinking a lot of money. If it was really $1 million, I would probably. You're gonna hate this, but I would probably put it in the bank, and then we're being realistic, and then I would. I wouldn't buy. It's not enough money. I guess I would buy you a car. Okay, I would buy you a car, and then just one though. Just one car, and then I would just save it for school and kids' school and stuff.
Okay, boring.
I know. Right.
All right, this is the last question. Are you ready for this?
Okay. Yes.
Where do you want to take a trip, and for how long? If you could only travel by a car.
If I could only travel, well, this is pretty easy. I would take a road trip, all over. Not all over, but if I could only travel by car for however long that I wanted, I would probably take a long road trip around. So,
the whole country?
Yeah, but I would stay longer in specific areas. And I'd like to go to Canada as well, up the west coast of Canada. Probably wouldn't want to drive to Alaska, but I would go into Canada a little bit, and hang around there and see what they've got. But yeah, probably a road trip around. If I couldn't do that, then I would just take a road trip to the Pacific Northwest and hang out there in the beautiful scenery and the beautiful ocean, the beautiful tide pools. Yeah.
All right. So how was the interview?
That was a good interview. Some of the questions could have been a little bit more specific, then they would have been easier to answer. Maybe some follow-up questions to my answers. So, yeah, if you just work on your technique a little bit, it'll be perfect.
All right, well, that's all, folks.